Welcome to the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, where we dive into the captivating world of books. Here at the Book Buzz Show, we encourage you to make your pages turn with joy and immerse yourself in a magical literary experience. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, where we dive into the captivating world of books. Here at the Book Buzz Show, we encourage you to make your pages turn with joy and immerse yourself in a magical literary experience. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to the Book Buzz Show. I am your host, Cheryl Brooks, and if you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. If you enjoy the upcoming show, please like, follow, subscribe, and share the broadcast. Also, for those of you who are new here at the Book Buzz Show, we do discuss the books and the characters with some minor spoilers. But we don't give anything too major away, no plot twists or anything like that that will ruin your reading enjoyment. Just enough to whet your appetite, hopefully, to make you want to go out and get the book. Also, please stick around for our second segment later in the show. That is where me and my co-hosts give our weekly book highlights and that we want to share with other book lovers. So please stay tuned for that as well. All right, and we have a great show in store for you this evening. We will be speaking with author Dreia Wells, about her HellNight Academy series. And we'll be talking about book one in particular. And here is the cover on the screen. Let me bring that up. Beautiful cover. The first book is called Unshaken. HellNight Academy book one by Dreia Wells. For those who are watching, that's the book one on the screen right there, the cover. For those who are listening later, again, that's Unshaken, a HellNight Academy book one, Dreia Wells. And when I tell you I have devoured these books, if you're into paranormal and fantasy, you will love it. All right, and without further ado, I'm going to bring on tonight's guest along with my co-host this evening, Katina Brown. Welcome, Dread, to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
You're welcome.
Well, tonight here in the UK.
Right. And I appreciate you coming on, even though it's night there. I'm trying to change the format the way it's. I didn't like the way it was. All right, so let me see. All right, let me get this up. Okay, so we'll get right into it. For those who are new to you, can you give us a little background as far as how you got started on your professional writing journey?
Oh, wow. Okay, so basically, I had a theater career for the past 20 plus years. And so
really?
I initially, I used to write when I was younger in my early 20s. I started off with, I wanted to initially be a playwright, but then I got my degree in acting, directing, and in art history, and then I started working as a technician. I mean, I've been all over the place, and so I was a costume designer, a wardrobe supervisor for 20 plus years. And what happened was lockdown. And here in the UK, we were on a longer lockdown than they in the States. So I was like, you know what? After so many years in theater and the schedule because it's pretty tough, I just said, you know what? I'm gonna write. And literally, I wrote my first series, the Owens and Witches series, which is kind of sort of about my family. And it came to me in the shower, and I just told my husband, I said, I'm gonna write. I'm gonna write a book. And I sat down and I wrote it in about took me about 2 months to write
Wow.
Okay.
Chosen, and that's how it began. Like as soon as I start writing it, it's like then more books came in the series, and I just kept going, kept
Mm-hmm.
going, kept going. And I mean, if you guys know about the indie book world, it's a bit crazy. So I literally felt like I was just being thrown into this
Mm.
unknown world. I
Yeah.
had no idea how to do
Right.
anything. I mean, nothing at all. And so I just jumped in and I just kept going. I just kept going, meeting the right people, and connecting with
Mm-hmm.
the right people. And then you learn the game. You learn the game really well.
As by
Yeah, you
doing it,
learn the game by
huh?
doing. The more books I wrote, the better I got at it.
Yeah.
And it just everything just start coming together. So yeah, that's basically how I started. And here I am 4 years later. So yeah.
I
Ooh.
love that. I love that. Um, Now you originally lived here. When I was looking at your
Yeah.
bio, you originally lived here, and you
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
from Houston,
States. How
Texas.
do you like living abroad in England?
Well, I've lived here for almost 15 years. I came here. I
Oh, it's
came
been a
here for my
while. Okay.
husband. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
and it's complete. It's definitely a different world. I mean, because yeah, they speak English, but then they don't at the same time. It's like completely different worlds.
Right,
So
right.
it took a lot. It took a lot to get used to, and so especially
Hmm.
because all my family's back home, and
Hmm.
so it's not as
Right.
many. It's not that connection.
Right.
All my friends were back
Hmm.
home, but I'm so used to moving around that
Yeah.
it wasn't so bad. So I got used to it fairly quickly. It wasn't that bad.
Hmm.
But I love it. But I love
Do
it
you work
here.
outside the home
Oh
as
yeah, I
well?
worked in theater. I toured. I toured all over. I toured
Okay.
Europe. I toured the UK. It's like I went from one. I toured on Broadway in America as well. So when I went from one situation, when I moved over here, I just jumped right back into the arts, and I just kept
Oh, good.
going.
Okay. Yeah, because I was saying that would be a good way to meet people
Yeah.
when you first move
Yeah.
to a new place. Yeah. And this, England is on London specifically is on my list of travel places. So I'm hoping
Oh,
to be able to get
definitely.
over
Yeah, you
there.
definitely
Mm.
should. It just for it being an island, there's a lot to see. There's so much to see here.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
definitely that.
Right. And I keep like I like to look at a lot of what is it? What channel is that? The
BBC.
royalty channel where they
Oh,
do the castles
Oh
and all
yeah.
that stuff. So I'm like, okay, I have to come and tour Kensington Palace and all of that.
Yeah, definitely. You would definitely love it. Yeah,
hmm.
especially because they do tours in
Yeah.
Buckingham Palace as well, and that's
Oh,
something
okay,
that's a
okay.
sight to see. You have to see it.
Okay.
I can't. I just wish I would have came. I would have made it before Queen
I
Elizabeth
know.
passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's on my list of places to go.
Hmm.
So, um, all right. So, also, what I ask a lot of romance authors when they come on the show is when you're looking for a good romance, either movie or book, whatever. What's your go-to?
Oh man. Oh gosh. See, this is gonna be crazy. Okay, so I've always been a fan of Love Jones,
Okay.
Oh
and
yes,
only
yes.
because of course I love poetry originally, and
Hmm.
it was the poetry and the music together for
Hmm.
me
Hmm.
that drove
Hmm.
the story. And when I write my books, I always create a playlist. There's a playlist for every book that I've written. So
Right.
it's me incorporating the music and the words together. So for me, that's a go-to for me
Hmm.
because I'm like, you want to feel that emotion
Yeah.
that goes
Yes.
along with that.
Hmm.
And yeah, yeah.
I agree with that because I love music as well, and just that elevated it. The
Yeah.
the poetry and the music, it was just I
Hmm.
loved it, loved
Hmm.
it. So that's definitely a good one. You're actually the second, not the third author I think that has mentioned
I'm
Love
telling you,
Jones. Yeah.
it's just it did it for me when I was how old was I? I don't even know. I don't want to tell my age though. I don't want
I don't even remember
I don't
how
want
old
to
I
give my
was,
age
but
away.
I was grown though when it came out. But yeah.
I'm like,
Right.
I don't want to be giving my age away and everything, but it just did it. It did it for me. It did it for me.
Yes, I love that. And you know what? I would love for them to do a reboot. They
You
haven't
know,
even. Yeah, that
I
would be.
would as well. That I think that would be really good.
They
That
got
Mhm.
that would be.
They have to be real.
with the same
Right, the
characters
same
though,
characters.
with Nia Long and
Yeah.
Lorenz Tate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Change it up.
Yep, I would love that. Now, do you outline when you did you? Because it sounded like you just go with it when you
Okay,
sit down in
so
front of the.
I do more of an outline now. Like I said, you
Okay.
work smarter. Eventually, you work smarter.
Right.
But initially, I would say I'm a pantser. Like the idea comes to me, and I just go for it
hmm
because I call myself my head my crazy because I never know where my plots are gonna go. Like my plots
hmm
are so out there that I just go for it because I can make a plan, but plans go
As they
True.
often do.
plan.
But that would be just it would be like a guide for you.
I could be mid manuscript and I'm just like, nope, that's not gonna happen.
It's like going totally different
Right.
direction.
Or I rub my hands together and go, they're gonna kill me, but oh well. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So is it the plot or the character that comes to you first?
It depends on what I'm writing. To be honest,
Okay.
it's so funny for HellNight Academy in particular. It wasn't the plot or the characters. Honestly, my husband, he I said, because that basically was a group of authors. We were all together, and it was right when
Okay.
sometimes genres kind of float around and come back around, and so they
Mhm.
were like, oh, let's do some Academy books, some dark white shoes, and I was like, well, I was like, Academy is not my. That ain't that's not my
Right.
jam. I don't. I've because that's the thing. We've all read so many
Right.
academies, and it's that they all have the same plot, the same
Mhm.
thing happening. These young girls, and you're like, wait, you're 18 and you're doing what now?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, come on. And you get that same, like, this cookie cutter thing that's happening to them. And
Mhm.
so
Right.
I was like, okay, I'll do it. But I was like, oh, I don't need a name. So my husband was like, what about HellNight Academy? And I was like, wait. As
I
as
love
soon as
that.
soon as my husband said it, I said, wait a minute. I said,
So it started
I did.
percolating up there as soon
As
as he
soon as
said
he said it, the name came to me. I said, Micah, her name. That's her name. And I literally, I know some people who've read the series, they're like, oh, well, this is not what I'm used to. I said, that's the point.
Right.
I said,
Right.
that's
Right.
the thing. In most Academy books, you go, oh, it's January. Now it's February, and then in April, and
Right.
then I'm like, do we have to go through the whole school year? You
Yeah.
know, when you think about it, when you read, I mean, I know we've all, well, some you read Harry Potter, and
Mhm.
she goes through the
Yep.
whole school year. I'm like, really?
Oh.
Do I mean at the time I enjoyed it, and most
Right.
authors
Right.
will do that. They tackle the whole school year. I'm like,
Yeah.
no. I think for Micah, I was like, I need this girl to hit the ground running and never get a rest.
And she
Yeah.
definitely kept getting hit.
I
That's for
needed
sure.
her to just keep getting blow after blow after blow after blow.
Yeah.
I said this
Mhm.
should feel like hell for her, and that
Mhm.
was the whole
Right.
point. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. And I'm looking at Instagram. We have a few people over there. Hi, I'm a Detroit girl. Thank you for joining us.
Hey.
I can't tell if it's others or
Oh,
L
boss
Boss
chick.
Chick. Hello. Um, yeah, the author says hello. Okay. Now, what advice would you give to someone who's just come? I'm sorry. Somebody had just put something, message me. I thought it was somebody about the show. What advice would you give somebody just starting in their writing journey?
Right, just write. Don't think about it. Don't stress about it. Just write. Get it down on paper
Mhm.
because it's not going
Mm-hmm.
to come to fruition until you get it there.
True.
Like you need
Mm-hmm.
to write every word. It doesn't even matter because things can be edited later.
Yeah.
Like just get your
Right. Right.
ideas down on paper
Mhm.
because I know a lot of times that even with me, there was a point maybe in my second year while imposter syndrome it kicks in. It happens to the
Right.
best of
Right.
us, and
Yeah.
so I was like, I don't know if this is right, and then I just moved slower and to
Mhm.
the point where I was
Mm-hmm.
just dragging. And
Yeah.
I was just like, no, you can do this. So you just have to write, whether it's good or bad. Let somebody else determine that. You just write and
Right.
True.
get your
Right.
ideas down. Just take your time. Everything else will come together. Just write your
Mhm.
story first. Once you have it, the whole manuscript, whether small, whether it's a novella or whether it's a novelette or whatever, get it
Mm-hmm.
down on paper, and then you can go from there. Yeah.
I love that though. And a couple of authors said that too. Yeah, they said that's the most important thing. You can always don't worry about formatting and then
Yeah.
all of that in the beginning. Just get it
Mm-hmm.
down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to get into the story and the characters. For those who are new to HellNight Academy, can you give a brief overview of what the series is
Okay,
about?
so basically, HellNight Academy is a little bit of a madhouse. We start with a simple situation. You have Micah. She's 23.
Right.
She's in a family of witches. Basically, she's feeling
Right.
the pressure. Her little brother. Well, I wouldn't call Marcus little, but to her,
Right.
her her
Right.
her
Our
younger
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 brother,
brother.
brother.
he's now at Callum Academy. But Micah's left behind. She's
Mm-hmm.
feeling the pressure from not only her mother but her father, who,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, you I have a soft space in my heart for her dad. Well, because it's just like he's protecting her, but she
Right.
doesn't understand at the moment.
But we don't know
So
that in the
she's
beginning because I was like looking
Same.
at him
well,
side
yeah.
eye.
I don't paint him in a good light initially,
No.
Right,
and
right.
he's put she's under a lot of pressure to be a light guardian, and every year she's being rejected.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And of
Right.
course, she doesn't understand why. She's giving it her all. They're holding back on her
Hmm.
magic. Her dad is more fight focused than magic focused, and
Right.
so she's frustrated.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
And so she,
right,
the last she thinks she's gonna get into Callum Academy, and nope, she's offered a spot at Hell Night, which is where the baddies go.
Mm-hmm.
And
right,
and
right.
where I would say, and where the rich upper echelons send their kids to basically be baddies. So she, of course, her parents are like, heck no, you're not gonna do it. And she's a grown woman.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason
Right,
for her to do that. But in that society, in her societal structure,
Right.
they determine where their kids go and what they do. And in that particular witch's coven, they are like guardians. And so she
right.
leaves, and she goes to Hell Knight Academy, and as soon as she touched,
That's where the adventure
and that's
starts.
where it all begins. And it's like she's entered into the crazy. Like, hello. I
Instantly.
think my favorite part of the book when I wrote it is when Ty and Trish drop out of the trees and they meet her.
Yes, yes, yes,
I
yes. And they were
Love them.
hilarious. I love them.
They
I love
are
them.
my two favorite characters. And I think it's because I just let
Mhm.
my crazy go.
Mm.
And I said, if
I could
I
tell.
said if
Yes.
I could write, two men who were just out there bad,
Yeah.
it's them. And I just let myself go. And I don't know, it was the
Mhm.
most freeing I've ever written. I was so free when I wrote them. It is so exciting.
Yeah.
Anytime I reapproach them, I just let myself go and
Mm.
just be as wild as crazy as
I
I
love
can.
it.
And basically, she just starts meeting tether after tether after tether. And of course, you're just like, what the hell is going on?
In the
I
beginning,
know,
I'm
like,
like,
wait.
where is she going with all these
I
feathers and these mates? I'm
mean,
like, what's going on?
I'm just like, how can you crowd a sister so much? I said, well, this is why I choose for a reason. Why not? Because I think in the structure that I've created, it's like the more powerful she is, the more tether she needs. And
Right.
in the tether, it means basically it's helping her control her magic. It's helping her ground herself.
Mm-hmm.
It's all kinds
Hmm.
of reasons why there are tethers, and that's why there are not a lot of books, because it's so rare for
Right.
someone to have so
Hmm.
many in one go. And
Yeah.
so the fact that she just keeps collecting them, you just like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was like,
Like,
wait, we're like, okay, what's going on?
I mean,
But you know what I like too? I like that because I read a lot of paranormal, and so we know that mates don't like to
right.
share. So I like that you did incorporate where at least Rook and
and lyric, yeah,
lyric
yeah.
uh, both said, okay, we're gonna do this for you, try it out for you, but we don't like
Right.
to
Well,
share
because both
our
of them,
mates.
they're demons. So for them,
Right.
they like, heck no,
Right,
we don't do that. No, we don't share.
Mm-hmm.
right.
But for Micah, they have to work together, even though,
Right.
Rook and there's going to be more between the two of them. But Rook and, and Lyric, because they know each other. They've known each other for a long time.
Right,
So
right,
it's
right,
like, you
right.
stay in your corner, I stay in mine, but now we have to like cohabitate. Like, really?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's it's interesting. But the triplets to me, because I know everybody's like, oh, Roden, I don't know.
I did not like him at all. I told Katina, I said, okay, I don't like the third brother
The
at
third,
all. I don't know how she's gonna redeem him because I did not like him at all. I'm like, how can you come back from trying to kill somebody? I don't
well,
know. You did it though. You made him contrite
you
and
when you get to
remorseful. And
when you get to Unhinged, Roden's story gets more unveiled, and you
okay.
realize
Yes,
Lucretia LaRue is like,
right.
See
The
the
mother
truth.
from
she is
hell.
she is super villain.
Actually, yes.
Like, I wanted her to just
Literally,
be
she's the mother from hell.
super villain. And that's the thing. Between
Yeah.
Micah's mama and Lucretia LaRue, you like, I don't know
Right.
who I hate
Right.
the worst. I just want to kill them both.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
Well, that's one of my questions to you, though, because you left it kind of open ended with Micah's mother, because her father told her, your mother did this to protect you, but Micah still has doubts. Like, did she send me
well,
here to
that's the
die?
thing.
So we really don't know, do
No,
we?
ultimately, you don't really know, because Micah doesn't get to actually talk to her mother in the end. And
Right.
that was a decision that was hard to make, because I said, okay, does Bishop get his wife, his woman back in the end?
Right.
Right.
And,
I thought he was gonna be able to like bring her back or
does he
something.
get her back in the end? And I said, nah, let's just kill her off. I don't know, y'all. I was really in my feelings by the time I got to the third book, and I said, does she deserve?
Because I was hoping that she really did do it to
I
protect
think
her.
ultimately, I think she was trying to, honestly, I didn't see her being that redeemable. I think she was trying to save face, because when Michael confronts her,
Mm-hmm.
it ain't
Mhm.
enough. That wasn't enough. She was
Right.
groveling for him. She wasn't trying to protect her daughter. Like, dude.
Right.
And I was writing it going, you ain't. And because that's the thing. I could have easily just been like, oh, I'm doing this for her. I'm doing this for her. I'm doing this for
Mm-hmm.
her. But
Right.
again, it was
Mhm.
that one thing where I'm like, sometimes parents aren't redeemable.
You are.
And
That's
Mm-hmm.
true.
I
That's
said,
true.
it would have been so easy. Again, it was me bucking the system,
Mm-hmm.
and bucking
Okay.
the
Okay.
stereotype of the genre. Because it's always, the
Right.
parents, I did it to protect you.
Yeah.
I sent you away.
Mhm.
I gave you away. And I did this and I did that. And, and you got the mama groveling and the daddy
Right.
groveling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's always the same. You like, yeah, he didn't gave, yeah, okay, give us the reason why,
Right. Right. Right.
But I said it would have been so stereotypical for me to go, you know what? Let Micah mama be good and let Bishop carry her out in his
Right.
arms and go, Micah, I'm so sorry. I was like, I couldn't, I just
Oh
like,
man.
I'm not even gonna be that dramatic here. We're just gonna kill her. She ain't survived. Nobody ever knows,
Oh
and then I feel bad, because then you have Marcus, who has basically lost both
yes.
parents.
And that's why he was so mad, upset with Micah, because he like. I mean, I'm mad at her too, but this is our mother, And Micah was torn. You could tell she was torn because who wants to think that their mother,
Well, yeah, the fact
wishes
that
them,
she
yeah.
felt so iced out, and she hadn't heard from them. But then you don't really know what's
Mhm.
going on at Callum Academy, and Michael is just evil. Oh Lord,
Mm-hmm.
I
And that's what I want to get to, though. I like you said, bucking the system. This is definitely because I read a lot of Archangel books as well, and Michael is always the ultimate. He's the good angel, Archangel. So when you flipped it, I'm like, okay, where is she going with this?
it's so funny,
Um,
because in my first series, Chosen, there are archangels in there as well, and Archangel Michael is in that one. And if you read the Owens and Witches, Michael is like,
mhm.
you fall in love with him. Like, you want him
Okay,
to just grab a witch and fall in love and fall to earth,
right.
Michael.
Right.
You don't need to be in heaven. Just fall in love. You really feel him. And then I said, if I use Michael here, it can't be the same Michael that I had in my book before. So
Right.
I
Oh,
literally
okay,
flipped the
okay,
script again,
Mm-hmm.
and I
yeah,
literally took the archangels, and I just, it was almost one of the things, like, the idea of the whole series is nothing is black and white.
Right.
Right.
There's just, yeah, you can say things are good and evil,
There's good and evil in
but
everyone.
but
Right.
is it, everybody, there's a gray area, and that's the whole idea of HellNight Academy,
Right.
was that we all have a gray area here. Yeah, you could say Ty and Triss are bad, but are they? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And
Right.
it's one of those things where you go, yeah, they're demons, but when I talk about the tapestries and the actual war against heaven and hell, and you see that the demons are trying to help instead of trying to like
Right. I'm like,
overthrow.
okay, we really getting where the bad guys are the
Yeah,
ones that's standing on the side of
exactly.
righteousness
And I
in
said,
this
I
right.
totally again, bucking the system. I changed the narrative that we usually would read, and I'm saying, hey, these demons down here trying to live their lives, and you got old Lucifer. Yeah, Lucifer's a whole nother character as well. Like,
Yeah, he still was, something else, but but he still stepped up in the end, but it was for probably
yeah, for his own
his
his
own
own personal gain.
right.
We ain't seen the last of him yet. So yeah.
I did enjoy Bishop and um him, was showing his side that he loves his daughter and he wants what's best for her. He loved her mother. And even though he did whatever he did to fall as an archangel, that he still has those
Well, yeah,
qualities where
because you
he
have this like because I think the prologue really like the prologue in Unshaken, when you
Mhm.
first meet Bishop, and he's used like, who in the hell is this man, this chaos demon, who just
Right,
the
right.
way his entire personality when he's on that rooftop, you like, wait a minute. Like, I think that's probably one of my favorite prologues I've ever written, because again, it's one of those things where I just let myself go and just write.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
his relationship, with her mother, and he wants her, but again, Micah's mom is she's very strict. Light guardians are very strict, so she's trying to follow her
Right,
policy. She's trying to
right.
do the right thing, and again, not really, because she went on and married the man without telling him she was pregnant, and just went
Right,
on, like,
right.
even though he knew. And I think when I think he ultimately knew, when Micah was when she was pregnant, that was his soft spot, and she is his soft spot, which might not
Mm-hmm.
help him in another book, but we gonna leave that alone for now. But
Oh no.
oh no, it's not like that. I don't think I'll ever kill Bishop off. Like, I just love him too
Oh,
much.
okay, okay,
I love him
okay.
too much. I love him too much.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah.
Um, Now, Katina, what was some standouts for you in Unshaken?
Um, so many, and most of them. When I make my
What did you think about before you get started? What did you think about what we just spoke about with the so many tethers and mates falling out the sky? Like
I was kind of in the
where?
same mindset as Esme. Am I saying it right? Of like, what do we do with these people? Like, like, what does it mean? Like, she kept questioning that, that concept of,
Right,
the professor and the man. I mean, it was
right.
everybody, and it was like, where are they coming from? And I'm like, how are they gonna fit? And everybody was
And
so
then she
interested.
has a mate.
And she,
Well, that's the thing about Esme. I think Esme is very she's very shy,
right?
and
Right. She wants to stay in the background,
she's like,
right?
I keep my head down.
Yeah,
I don't want to be bothered. Yeah, I'll go and show this girl around and do my duty and go back
yeah,
to my room, go back to my house, and
that's
but
it.
then she meets Micah, and that connection is there, and she
Yeah,
doesn't know what to do with that. And that's the thing is, I think also with, again, when you're writing female, which is again, it's something a lot. You either
I
like
was
it
a
or you
little
don't.
surprised by it. I
right.
was like, okay, I
You
wasn't
you
thinking that was
either you you either like it, or you either love it or you hate it.
Right,
Just like if you read male, you either love it or you hate it.
right,
And so for me, I was like, that was my first foray into a female relationship, as far as writing in a book. And I said, okay, how am I going to do this where I can ease these women into a relationship that may or may not end up being intimate, in which
right,
it did. As a tether, you don't have to be
right,
hmm
intimate in a way where you need to stay with this person.
right. And
And
you
I
can be a
think,
soulmate and be a best. Because I read a book a long time ago where they were like soulmate. They didn't call them soulmates, but they were on that. But they were best friends, so it was like they
Right.
were tied, but they were best friends, and that's where,
Exactly.
yeah,
So I think it was just them trying to figure out
Yeah.
the connection that they needed to have, and I think that's why Esme was like, I gotta get, unlike like Ronan, I gotta get out of this.
Gotta get out of this.
Both of them are like, wait. So yeah, poor Esme.
but
She's
Roden was doing it because he wanted to appease his mother, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
He's very mother driven. He's
Mhm.
very mother driven. So
Yes.
Was.
But you know what I thought was interesting, and I'll come back to you, Katina. What I thought was interesting was, I can't remember if this was Unshaken or not one of the other books, but when they were tested, um, they found out Trice, or how do you pronounce it? Is it Trice?
Tris.
They found out Tris was actually the stronger brother, even though they always thought that he was the more unstable one. But when it came down to it, in the underworld, his two brothers succumbed before. What he didn't even succumb; they did. So I thought that was interesting too.
Well, I think also it's because basically because Tris is stronger, his power had been basically battering at him this whole time. Hence why he's a little bit more unhinged,
Right.
because his power had continued to be bad. He was battered by it constantly.
Right.
So it's almost like you hearing the noise in your head. He's dealt with the noise longer than Ty and Roden did. So he was more put together than the other two. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. The one that you think is the weaker link ends up being the stronger one. But Katina, sorry I interrupted you. What your the standouts are.
I just like Micah's conversations with herself.
Oh yeah,
Because both of them were hilarious, and and she didn't need. I mean, luckily she had a key to talk to, but most of it,
when she first got there, she like, what is going on?
Well, her anchor key that she barely listened to Rook.
Right, that's what she actually was getting on my nerve. I'm like, why are you not listening to him when he's trying to tell you? Even though stubborn. I do agree with her that it was always at an inopportune time because she'd be back during the battle or something. Yeah. But yeah.
Because she was always like, what now?
It made me laugh because it was like, I just want Rook to annoy her. And but also I wanted Rook to have an alternative, ulterior motive that you don't know. You don't know until the end.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When she just
which I love, by the way, I love that.
You know, when she says, "What the?" and pitches the key across the floor, like, "What the hell is this?" And so, you just like she's so annoyed by him, but then as a reader, you get annoyed with her because you're like, "You're not listening. You're not listening."
Right.
So it was that.
And I just like the emotional, like where she kept saying to herself, "Why do you feel like you have to apologize to a key?" Like,
okay, yeah. She's constantly talking to a key. Oh my gosh! I think in the book it was just like, even as I was writing it, I was like, this woman is talking to an inanimate object. and it's so funny when the guys are like, is she talking to her?
Right.
When Ty and Tris are like, wait, the keys don't talk.
Right.
How is that possible?
And then she kept catching herself because she didn't want to look like she was crazy out in the open talking. So that was funny. I like that.
That was
and I like you said, I like when she encountered the twins. That was funny, but she felt that pull right then with them. But she also like, okay, something is wrong with them in the head, especially.
Okay, when she tosses them, she to get rid of them, she tosses them across across.
Right, and he said, "Oh, I'm in love."
She sends them flying, and he's like, "I'm in love." That's how crazy they are, and I love those characters so much. I think a lot of people, their favorite moment is when Tris is literally on the roof with his narwhal slippers and his popcorn.
Oh yeah, that part again was hilarious. Just the way he came across, the way he dressed. He seems so out there because you would think that he would be. He was very flamboyant, but he was
Very much so.
He was
Like
very.
he didn't wear his uniform like everybody else. Like
No.
he literally, you know what made me like what my idea for him was. You know how Will Smith in Fresh Prince of Bel Air,
That's how
he
he's
wore
Oh
supposed to be.
yeah.
Yes.
he wore his blazer inside out,
Right,
so
right,
all you
Yes.
saw
right.
was the lining. I said, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna take it even farther.
I saw
I was
I
that.
like
like,
that comparison. You're right. I like that.
Saw that. 'Cause I'm-
that's where I got the idea. I said, you know what, he's gonna be a little Fresh Prince of Bel Air and like not wear his uniform the way he's supposed to.
Right.
So yeah, that's where I got his idea from. That idea from, but him sitting on the roof with his slippers and he watching chaos and he's eating popcorn the whole time, and I'm
Right,
like,
right, right. Oh man.
making little comments about, you should have ran faster. It's just like,
he's watching the gargoyles like attack people, drag them
Right,
away, and
right,
he's like,
right.
well, this is a good show, and I'm like, this fool is crazy.
Right, right, right.
But
But I like
but
how Micah, even though she was doubting her light guardian, her lightness, um, she had that light in her anyway because her first instinct was to help
protect people. Yeah.
protect people. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was her first instinct, and I think that was some of my favorite writing is her battle scenes and her
Mhm.
using magic, and
Mhm.
as you in Unhinged when you're not there yet, but when there's a battle in Unhinged that I love,
Mhm.
and it's like it's so good. I love writing action,
Right. And I
so I
love
mean,
me too. I love reading it because that's my
I
favorite thing about
love
paranormal and fantasy. Yeah.
I love writing action. I just flow with it. But with Micah, it's so easy because she'd been trained to do this. So I'm like,
Right.
yeah, strap those knives on your
Yes.
thigh,
Right,
girl.
right, right. So
Yes.
she's like a double threat, actually a full threat, but a double threat because
Yeah,
Yeah.
she has
she
the
is
magic,
all
but she also has the combat from her father. Yeah.
yep,
Right.
she's all the threats. When she has that sword on her back and I said, yes, I could just see her just
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
she steps out the house and she's battling the other students that they're coming to taunt her and they got on their masks like little
Yeah.
chickens.
Yes.
But then I love when like Ty rolls in and Trish they roll in out of nowhere, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
yes.
I
Yeah.
love
I,
the way that they loved on her and gave her
mm-hmm.
that just showed her, even though her parents loved her and her brother, she still felt like an outcast because
Right.
of the way they kept her hidden.
Yes,
Even though it was
yes.
for her own protection, of course, she didn't know that. She didn't have any friends. Her brother was her only friend.
Right.
So I think just meeting her tethers and her mates completed her.
Yeah, they were her found family. Like, but Ty and Trish, like they were just instantly in love, and I really wanted to build on that relationship, especially in book
Mm.
one,
Yeah.
because they were the only two who were like in it to win it. Like
Right.
Right.
from
Right.
the beginning, they were down from the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
And I
like, you know
love
what?
that.
So yeah, I had to build on that because those two, like they love her. And
Yeah.
I think you find it out because they feel like she saved them as well.
Right.
It's
And we
because
get
they
that with both the brothers. Well, we get it later with Roden too, but with Ty and Tris, when they have their pirate moments with her, I really love. That's one of my favorite scenes actually that I
Yeah.
have written down between her and Tris, where he tells her, "Man, was this in Unshaken? I think it was."
That was Unshaken. Yeah.
when he
Okay,
tells her he's
yeah,
her sunshine.
Yeah.
yeah. Why he calls her that?
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
of the darkness that he
Yeah.
always like. He felt like he was about to, lose his mind.
Yeah, yeah. When Esme's when Esme's down for the count, poor
Right,
Esme. Oh
right.
golly, I put her through the ringer too.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. But, oh my!
Both
Oh,
both girls in
and
this
Katina,
series.
when you get to the third book, I think it's the
Okay.
third book.
Yeah, when you
No,
get
it's
to
the fourth book.
Unbroken.
It's the fourth book.
No,
Is it?
when you get to Unbroken,
Oh,
poor
broken.
Esme.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, Esme
yeah. It's
just
gonna
gets
be
drugged through
like,
the
oh
most. Yeah,
man, she gonna really give up.
but it just I don't know if you've read the novella yet, but the
I
novella
just
just
finished it.
So the novella, it gives you a little bit. It's a continuation. It gives you a little bit more from Micah, but Esme's world,
Right,
like she's gonna wake up in a world that she has no idea.
right,
The Fey realm, it's not like Earth. It's completely
right.
different. She's gonna find out so many things
But I hope
about
she
who
really comes into her own there.
you're gonna find out who she really is. And you got Sam, who everybody's like, you either love or hate Sam, because
Right.
Sam is trying to find his way as well. Because
Right.
Sam kind of got through into a pack,
Because
and poor Sam.
he has to redeem. I was looking at him too, like, okay, I understand that you have to follow your alpha, but this is your mate. So to me, that supersedes anything. So
he just was running scared, poor thing. Like, instead of saving her, I'm like, Sam, why don't? And I was, as a writer, I was like, I could just easily have Sam just defy his alpha and yank her up. I said, but that would be too easy. So we're
right.
gonna make Sam look like a coward right now. And he's
Yeah.
gonna have to redeem himself. So don't worry. Esme is gonna have a whole book. But there will be some surprises along the way within the Trials of Esme, and there's going to be some interlocking moments, because
Okay.
Kane, the baddie Kane, yeah, you haven't seen the last of him at all. That's
Oh,
all
no.
that's
No.
all I'm gonna.
I wanted Micah to just go full on, like, what's the word? Just like, because if she can be, if she can bring it on with Michael, she can really take this
Oh
one
yeah,
down.
she could take
So I'm
Kane
like, I
easily.
really wanted her to just.
Hence why he booted her out so fast. He was like, nope, I'm gonna take what I need, and I'm gonna get rid of her. Like, he got rid of her real
Supernova.
quick.
That's the word I was thinking about. I wanted her to go supernova on him.
Yeah, supernova explosion. Don't
Yes.
worry, there's so many characters. They have so many things coming for them. So it's But Micah, then you won't see Micah and Esme. They will see each other again. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna give
They
away.
will see each other. Okay, because they do
Yeah.
need closure. And then because they're
Yes.
best friends too, they need to, still.
Well, that's the thing. Kane is that bridge, because he's taken
Right.
that. Yeah.
But I was kind of upset. Like, why did she allow that when she know that she can kick this man's behind?
Well, the thing is, it's either because he ultimately controls the souls.
He still could
within.
have not let.
He could have
Lyric out.
not
Yeah.
let Lyric go, and
Okay.
so that's why he was there to make a deal. He's there to make a deal. So yeah, it was an interesting thing when I was writing a novella. I was like, now how am I gonna spin this? I need, and that's the thing. I was like, I don't want to include Bishop. I don't want to include Lucifer, because that's going to be a whole nother thing. I said, but we need a new baddie. And then I was like, Then the idea came to me, and I said, who else would want out? And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So then my mind just went crazy. And I just started writing stuff, and
Well, I can't wait to
So,
read the continuation of Esme's story and Micah's story, and I just love the characters that you created. Were there any others for you, Katina, that stood out in the book?
I like that, like you said, with Triss and Ty, that they instantly fell, and to the point where they had known her like a week, and
Right.
she told them, like, they told her their real names, which they
Oh yeah,
really,
he said, I guess I can trust. We can tell.
yeah.
So that was, showed their level of trust
Mhm.
for her, and their belief in the tether and all that. So I thought that was sweet.
Yeah, and how they know their brother was stupid. He was like, he'll come around eventually.
Right.
I'm just like, Lord, Roden, you got his hand to get him where he needs to go. Because I was, oh yeah, and I think everybody loves, the whole Sasha debacle.
Oh,
I was like, I could not have a bully girl. I said, if I'm gonna do this, I said I'm gonna keep one thing.
You
I'm
know,
gonna
it's
have
always
one
one. It's always
bully
one at
girl.
school. Yeah.
I said I gotta have it. I said, but I'm gonna do her in at the end.
She didn't know how she was playing with fire though, while she
Yeah,
kept trying to cause trouble. And then you see that Ty and Triss too were like, okay, you keep talking to my sunshine and my kitten.
yeah.
Brother or not, you about to be out of here.
it it just makes me laugh that she shows up in Micah's house drunk
Yes.
and challenging her. I said, you
Right.
know what? Only an idiot would do something
Right.
like this.
Right.
And I
Right.
said, you
She
know
got
what?
that
Because
liquid
she,
courage in her.
yes, I said, and when Micah tells her friend, oh, y'all just gonna leave her? Ain't nobody going, ain't nobody. I said, that's just how fights are. It's like
Right.
all the other people stand back. It's like, oh, you just gonna let her make a fool of
Right.
herself
Right.
right
Right.
here. Ain't nobody gonna help her. So yeah, I mean,
So
it was
funny.
Unshaken was very fun to write because I just let my freak flag fly, and I
Mhm.
said, you know what, if I'm gonna write an Academy series, it's gonna be something that I know that I would enjoy, and I would just have fun reading, and so that's
Mhm.
what I wanted to
Mhm.
do. It's very fast paced. It's action packed.
Yes. Yes.
It's like twist after twist after twist after twist, and you like every chapter. I wanted to leave every chapter with people going, what the
Yes.
hell,
Yes.
and so that's basically, I wanted people to it to be a page turner because I
Mhm.
didn't want to draw a story out. I know a lot of readers was like, oh, this was so fast, everything's happening so fast. I said, yes, I don't want you to take a breath. That
Mhm.
was the whole
Mhm.
point of the whole
Mhm.
series, is that I don't want you to take a breath. I don't want you to get bored. I don't want you to go, well, I skimmed over that. No,
Right.
I
Right.
don't want you to skim. I
Right.
want you to read every word. I want
Mhm.
every word to be important. And that's why I wrote it the way I did. And so, yeah.
Right. Now, is Micah going to be on any more assignments for God? Because he basically
Yes.
gave her this assignment, um, and is the other archangels. I do like Uriel. I like her, but the
Yes.
one over she's not an archangel. The one that's over the Blue Mountain,
Oh, the
the
Blue Mountain Witches.
the
Yes.
one who did what she did to Esme.
Yes.
I want
Oh,
her to get hers. I hope she gets hers.
the goddess. Well, she's a goddess, so she has free range, so we might see her again. So it's a with in Esme's story, yeah. I think because there's still the ties that bind. Because basically, what happened is she thinks she's thinking that she's killed her.
Oh,
So
right,
not giving it too much to you,
right,
Katina.
right, right.
She's
Mhm.
yeah. She her whole point is, if you don't want to be a part of the coven, then
Mhm.
you no use to me. So yeah, we'll see
And
more.
that's basically what she. But I thought when I thought that she was like getting instructions from a higher being, um, telling her, you have to let her make the choice or whatever. Um,
Yeah, she was. I'm being so benevolent. She wasn't being benevolent at all.
yeah,
She
it
was.
showed in the end. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, she was like, you basically not giving this girl no choice. You
Hmm.
backing her against, So yeah, it's a lot. I really threw a lot at Esme in Unbroken because I knew that I was sending her somewhere else.
Somewhere. Okay.
Mhm.
And because I felt like I wanted, because Esme's such a strong character, and
Even though she doesn't know it.
even though she doesn't know it, she's so meek
Mhm.
and mild in the series. I was like, but look at you. You like so strong. Like you need more. So
Mhm.
when she goes to this other realm, she's going to have to come into her own
And I love
because
that.
she won't be getting a warm welcome. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh no, so she's still gonna have to.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think it was important for her to step out of Micah's shadow for her to
Absolutely.
actually shine. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have two strong women, and and that's the thing that even with Micah, she kept giving Esme the choice,
Right.
and she was like, look, I don't know what I'm doing either, like we
Hmm.
can just play this by ear. And I love that, she gives Esme a choice, and even when Sam comes along, you like, oh, what's gonna happen? And
Hmm.
Esme was, hey, she's like, hey, I ain't the only one who can have these things,
Right. Right.
I'm not the only one. I'm not trying to share her. Now I think if the guys, maybe one thing, but I think it was an understanding with her and Esme.
Right.
And I think that's why it works the way it works. And I think that's why the connection worked between them, because she already knew that I can let you go.
Hmm.
I'm okay with that. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's that mutual respect for one another. But yeah, we haven't seen the last of those two connecting.
Good.
We will
Good.
see them again. So
because
will
she
see them
missed her,
again.
and
Uh-huh.
she missed being able to talk to her and see her and stuff, and held on to her letter and stuff. I thought that was sweet.
Because that tether connection is strong. Like I said, there's so much they still don't know
Right.
about soul tethers, that connection is strong. Hence why she kept feeling lyric, even
Hmm.
though she thought she was just grieving
Love
him.
that too. Yeah.
And she was just like, wait, but he's still here. Just like she kept checking. She kept checking for
Right.
Esme. She kept checking for lyrics. She kept checking for all of them internally. So I think that's another thing that I've like. It's like her own little radars. Like she knows
Right.
they're
Right.
all there. So yeah, yeah.
Love it. Love it. Like I said, I read a lot in this genre, and I really, really enjoyed it. And like I told you, I devoured it book after book. I'm so glad I came to it when I did, so I was able to read them back to back. Uh, Hello, Mama Tony. Thank you for joining us.
Mama
This is
Tony.
a good one for you. I know, but she doesn't like paranormal though, so this one.
It's so funny because today one of my readers came on and she was like, Drea, oh my gosh, Micah is the twins, the triplets, their dad is Lucifer, and Bishop and Lucifer are brothers. Are they cousins? This is not right. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I had to explain. I was like, wait, okay, so a relationship, we know in my world, God created angels. They weren't born.
Right,
They're
right, right,
created. So
right,
when they created together, they consider themselves that familial term of brother and
right,
sister.
right.
Right.
And that's how in my mind, with every series that I've written, or any time I think about angels, I think about them in that way. Yeah, of course they're gonna be brother and sister because they've spent like millennia together.
Right, they came in.
And
Yeah,
so
came in as
so to
like
them, they've spent their whole lives together. So they call each other brother. Michael calls Lucifer brother,
right.
Gabriel, all of them, brother, 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 sister, sister, sister. That does not mean they're cousins. I was like, don't think that. This is not taboo. This is not taboo. So that made me laugh today. That I was like, that's the first time someone's ever asked
Well,
me that.
I was thinking when I was reading at first with the two brothers, I'm like, oh, and they both her mate or her tethers. I'm like, I
Mhm.
hope this. I'm like,
Neither
how's that gonna work? I don't want
neither
no
the three show
incestuous type stuff.
the it's so funny. The Ty and Tris, they share because they're identical. But neither the two shall meet
Okay,
in a
good.
way.
But yeah, I was
That's
glad
the
to see
thing.
that because I'm
With the
like at
three of
first,
them, that's the thing. Neither the three shall meet. It was like
right,
the twins, they are one. They consider themselves one. They
Right.
say my other half. They
hmm
mean that. Like they are connected in that way because in the womb they were identical.
right,
Whereas Roden was just, I want to say, the extra baby, but
Yeah.
and
right.
with the he was the extra in the womb for them. He had his own little cushion.
Well,
Those
that's
two,
why
they
I felt
shared.
bad for them too because the mother put that divide between them. But
Well,
even though
yeah.
she did, they still loved each other, and
Yep.
they still looked out for each other in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was some resentment, especially in Unshaken. You like, ooh, they don't like him. They
Hmm.
don't like Roden at all. But it's because the way their mother treated them, the way
Hmm.
she basically, you know, put him on a pedestal
Right,
and just, made them like lackeys, you
right.
know.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot of drama going on.
right.
Yeah, a lot of drama in the series.
I was not feeling bad for the mama at all. You read that, Katina.
Oh yeah, Lucretia, she is a mess. Especially, I think Unhinged. You really, when you read Unhinged, you just like, oh, this woman,
Right,
Lord,
right, right.
yeah. You really feel how dirty she actually is,
Yes.
and it makes me laugh when Roden goes, oh hell, I've been played. My
Yep,
own
yep.
mother then played me.
How far she was willing to go for even her favorite child. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was
Right.
like, God, dog, Roden, but he got that good slap in the face real quick. He like,
Hmm.
mm-hmm.
He found out for
Yep.
real.
He found out. He was like, she don't love you.
Hmm.
Mm-mm. And then you go to Unbroken and you realize why, and you like, oh
Right,
yeah,
right.
The drama just keeps on rolling. I said this series is the gift that keeps on giving. I give you everything, like
You do. You
everything.
do. You do.
So yeah, it's a little bit of everything. It's
Well, great
definitely
job. I
worth it.
really, really, really enjoyed it. And I can't wait to read more. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for the next books in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
near.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Anything else, Katina, before we head into our second segment?
No, I just like it was just a great read. I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to
Thank
read
you.
this. Because I like I said, I definitely would like to continue into this world, this
Mm-hmm.
the world building we didn't mention, but that was pretty awesome as well.
Oh, thank you.
To, to visualize all of that and the different the whole
Oh
gargle
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I see it, people in the air and heads.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
just it was like whoa, so it was pretty cool.
Yes.
It
And
has a nice cinematic feel to it,
Oh, it
and that's
does.
yeah.
so
Absolutely
that's good.
does.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It feels like you're watching a movie but reading it at the
It
yeah,
Right.
does.
yeah.
It does.
And that Hell Night reminded me of Purge when we first saw
Yes.
Purge for the
Yes,
first
yes, when
time.
the countdown in the books. I was
Yes,
like, I'm
like
gonna have
oh
a
my, you better get
countdown.
behind doors and lock
Yeah. I could just
um
see, students running with their books and trying to
right,
get the
right.
anchor key and shaking to get to the door. And I'm like,
But great job.
Mhm.
And maybe we can have you back later on when you do Esme's.
oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
All
Yep.
Mhm.
right, and I
It's
appreciate
definitely
you
coming later
staying up.
this year. Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me. So,
You're welcome, and enjoy the rest of your night.
I
Yes.
will.
And when I get ready to come to England, I'll reach out so you can give me
Mhm.
some pointers on.
Definitely, definitely.
All righty, enjoy the
Good
rest of your night.
night.
Good
Good
night.
night. Thank you guys.
You're welcome. All right, so we're going to get into our second segment where we do our weekly book highlight, and let's see, there should be an exit button on there, Drea, so you can exit.
Okay, 1 second. I'm getting there. Yep.
All right,
Good
bye.
night.
Okay, let's see. All right, so we're going into our book highlight for this week, and let me get my notes. You want to go first? Continue. You want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay, let me see.
What did I read?
All right, and also, ladies, the ones in the audience, if you've read any of our highlights, please let us know and let us know what your thoughts are on it. And if you ever read any of our highlights, please let us know as well. All right. So, Katina, you have the floor.
So this recommendation I have is called what do you see? It's Wife by Wednesday by Catherine Bybee.
I never read anything about this author.
Yeah, I read this. This was published in I think 2013, but I read it I think like 2015. And I did it along with one of my coworkers. And this is about 7 books in this series. But the funny thing is, the first book is Wife by Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next one is like Wife by the days are mixed up. So a lot of people read them out of order because they just
Oh, okay.
assume
Okay.
it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is, but it's
But
not.
they're not like in order. Okay.
It's not even like that. But so the synopsis is let's see, I'll read it. It's Blake Harrison, the male character, Blake Harrison, rich, titled, and charming, and in need of a wife by Wednesday. Blake turns to Sam Elliott, who isn't the businessman he expected. Instead, Blake is faced with Samantha Elliott, beautiful and feisty, with a voice men call 1-900 numbers to hear. Samantha Elliott is the owner of a matchmaking firm Alliance, and not on the and she's not on, you know, the marital menu. She's not interested in marriage until Blake offers her $10 million for a 1-year contract. And there's nothing indecent about this proposal. The money will really help with her family medical bills. All Samantha will need to do is keep her attraction to her new husband to herself and avoid his bed. But Blake's toe curling kisses and sexy charm proved too difficult for Sam to resist. It was a marriage contract that planned for everything except falling in love. So it what I liked about this series is um you get a little bit of you get like the what do you call it, marriage of convenience, is that what they're using? um but he's like, he has a title like a duke, so
Okay.
at some point we go over the pond and we get
Okay.
enter into his world, and why he does need a wife, because his father basically says that he has to have a wife by the time he turns 36,
Mm.
or he will lose title, inheritance, and all of that. And his mother and sister live over there, so he's got to do what he's got to do, because
Yeah.
otherwise they'll have to move. And in that type of society, you can't, kind of like the Bridgerton thing, you can't really, you
Right.
have to keep a certain status. So he, keeping that in mind, he's got all this pressure. He comes to this matchmaking place, just find me somebody, I just needed blah blah blah. But when he meets with Sam, who he thought would be a man, because she always advertised herself as Sam,
Oh, okay. Okay.
never as Samantha. So a lot of guys would come in thinking they were meeting with a man, but it
Right.
wasn't. But everybody always went on about this voice, this seductive voice that she has. And once he sees her and talks to her, he's just done for. And so instead of trying to get somebody from the catalog, because
Right.
I think in
He
the
wants
book,
her.
it takes so long, and she keeps asking, have you picked somebody yet? And he's like, no, not really. And then he finally gets to be like, well, okay, can it be you? And she's like, no, I don't want to be married, like, ever. Any fake, real, whatever. But
Right.
because her sister has medical bills, like serious medical bills, this money is needed, like really needed. And I
Okay.
think her sister like tried to commit suicide, and in the attempt there was some damage done, so
Okay.
her sister's totally like kind of dependent on her, so she really needs this money. But it ends up being, it's not really, they have their little bumps and, and like hills to get over, trying to get used to each other, trying to have parties and present themselves as husband and wife and in love. But as those stories go,
Right. I love
um
them too. They have
they
them a lot on the Hallmark Channel too.
yeah, yeah. And and the thing is, he's already a billionaire
Mm.
without the money. So but she has to be, and then when she goes over there, she has to be introduced into like the
Society.
society, and how she's
Mhm.
supposed to act and how she's supposed to dress. And so it's kind of interesting to see how they kind of get used to each other and try to figure out, you know, um, how to make it eventually, happily ever afters happen. But what really makes it good is the side characters too. Because the friends and the people that
Right.
come, they mix in, and they make it really fun and really
I love
interesting.
books like that where we get strong secondary characters as
Oh, really
well.
strong.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
add to the story.
Um,
I
and they're
love that.
they're like the voice of reason for her. Even though she's a, has this great business and is a really strong-minded businesswoman. Sometimes the matters of love get a little wish-washy when you're not
Mhm.
thinking straight. And he's coming at her hard, so he's frazzling her brain. And she can't really figure things out quick enough, and but the way that the saga, the series continue, um, she eventually, will find people, friends come, her friends will end up being matched up because
Okay,
they have
okay.
situations. Some of them end up with explosions, and there's like kidnappings, and it's just
Oh my goodness.
it
Okay,
morphs
I'm gonna check
into.
these out. Okay.
That's where I was at, and I remember when I was at work, this lady, she would come to my cubicle. She actually passed away last year, but she would come to my desk and she'd be like, "Oh my God, did you finish the book?" And we would like sit and talk, and then I would like hear my boss coming, and we were like, "We got to talk about." But this was really kind of the first series that I really read
Okay.
before. And I just kept going and going and just packing
Right.
them on. It's really good. I really did like him. But Catherine Bybee, and there's a spinoff to this as well. Because there's
Okay.
so many characters, there's like you need what do you call it, a Bible?
Right. Like we were
Um,
talking with AC about the character Bible.
yeah, to keep track of
Yes.
these people. But it's a lot of moving pieces, but she does it so well. Um,
Mhm.
with all that. And I just enjoyed it. I definitely would recommend it.
Sounds like a
Um,
good series. I'm gonna have to check
yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
And I love stuff about like the ton and stuff. So for
Yeah.
my historical stuff. So just that aspect too is intriguing me.
And they get a little bit of the snooty, the people that are really turning the nose up,
Hmm.
thinking that, because everybody's all in business anyway.
Right.
So and they know the situation that he needs to, they know everything. And he's trying to just fight for his family while he's trying to, fight this relationship because he doesn't want to be in a relationship. Neither does she. But eventually
But they both need each other
they
for
both need
different.
each other.
Yeah.
So it's
I
pretty
love it. Love it. Love it.
it's pretty cool.
All right.
Mhm.
So let me see. Mine this week is I did this one. I love this. I've only read book one so far. I'm planning on reading the other two books. I had held off because I was trying to get a hold of the author because I wanted to have her on the show
Okay.
before I moved on to the other books because then I'll forget book one. Even though I'm still, because I read so much, it's still like I had to refresh my memory a little bit.
Yeah.
But I actually chose this as my highlight in honor of the book that we just discussed with Dreia Wells. So
Mhm.
bring it on. Um,
I have some too.
okay,
Right.
so this is my highlight for this week: The Secret World of Maggie Gray by Granger. And the
Mhm.
series name is Drew Collins. This is book one. And it reminds me a little bit of what we just read with Unshaken, because this takes place also at a magical HBCU. Well, that one
Wow.
wasn't an HBCU, but this one is an
Right.
HBCU.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it is available on Kindle Unlimited. And I purchased it in 2024, October, and it released August of 2024. It
Okay.
is a large page count. Erica not out here right now, but it's 450 pages.
Ooh.
The genre is folklore and fairy tale fantasy.
Hmm.
Yes,
Okay.
and when I first read this book, it just felt very unique and very fresh to me.
Mhm.
Um, it's like I said, it's a magical world of HBCU students at this magical university. Um, and the story, book one, is focused on Maggie Gray and with her white hair. She's black with white hair.
That's funny. That's funny.
You're
I
right,
can't
it
stop
is. It's
looking
like
at
an
it.
ear. But I love it though. I love it
Because I was gonna ask you, is that what they look like? Like, is that the kind of
No,
energy that you
she's just
get?
a regular.
Okay,
I guess
because
that's just making her. Only thing that's similar as far as like how she's described in the book is the white hair, and
okay,
the white hair is a tale of what magical species she's from.
okay,
But she doesn't know that she's that
okay,
until she gets into this world. Okay,
okay,
so I'll read the synopsis is a vampire, a witch, and a siren get accepted into a magical HBCU. The rest I am not allowed to say, but just know there's a talking cat named Quan, a few murders that went cold, and a world that is just below our feet. um,
that's it.
that's all she put. That's all the author put out
That's
there.
probably all you need. That's probably all you need.
um, but I love Maggie Gray. Like I said, the book was unique to me. The characters were well developed.
Mhm.
We get suspense in it with lots of twists and turns. And like I said before, she doesn't really know who she is as far as her being in the supernatural world,
Mhm.
and she feels like an outcast. And so she finds her tribe when she gets to this HBCU, and they're a bunch of outcasts as well, so they bond.
Okay.
And they all have what I love too is each one of them has their own backstory. That's where we get backstory on why they behave the way they do now.
Mhm.
She said she would not be reading this one. I know you don't really like paranormal anyway, but it was very, very good. And as it said in the synopsis, we get a murder mystery, and we get lots of magical characters that's introduced,
Okay.
like I said, sirens and wolves and
Mm.
vampires and just a lot of other magical
Gambit.
beings that
Yeah.
you probably wouldn't even think of. And they're all trying to navigate this new world, and it was so well done. I can't wait to read the other two books. Like I said, I was trying to get a hold of the author, still trying to get her on the show, which is why I stopped at book one. But I'm gonna go ahead and read the other two as well. But very, very, very good. And she's going to find out who she is. For one thing, the white hair gives it away because the other beings in the school have
Mhm.
more experience in that magical realm. So as soon as they see her, they know, who
I
she
know
is.
who
Yeah.
she is. So when they come to the school, is it by choice or is it by like force?
She gets invited. She gets similar to, I guess, how it was in the book that we were talking about, where she did get invited, and she did. And two, they're grown. They're not 18,
Oh,
19 year old. They're all in their
okay.
20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of them in their mid 20s. Yeah. So they're also grown. They're not so the HBC, that's what I liked about it too, is the HBCU, they're all like in their 20s and mid 20s,
Right. Okay.
not necessarily teenagers when they come. So they've all lived a life um, when they get there.
Okay. Okay.
But very, very, very well done.
How did
And
you fall into the book? Did you like the
there was
cover?
a lot of people talking about it in a lot of different
Oh,
reading
okay.
groups and stuff. Yep, in a lot of reading groups and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to check this out. So many people talking about this book,
Because I've
and
seen it
then
before.
mhm,
I've seen that face when I saw it. I said, that looks very familiar. Like I've seen it
mhm.
floating around, but I was just like, I don't know. But
But
now we got this
that's how
recommendation.
I found out about this one, because it was on so many, a lot of the ones that I know are very avid readers, and they were like loving this book. I was like, okay. And actually when I first picked it up though, I put it down because I think it started kind of slow, but then
Hmm.
I picked it back up, and then I just got into the world.
So you said this is 450. How far did
Mhm.
you get into when you put it down?
Um, maybe the first 50
Oh,
pages.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But after that, it just took off once I picked it back up.
Okay.
Yeah. And even with me putting it down, there was still something there that was making me want to
Mhm.
pick it back up eventually.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And so yeah, really, really enjoyed it. And because we were reading this book, I said, okay, this reminds me of this a little bit.
Yeah.
So I said, let me do that as my highlight because I love the book. So,
That's a good
yep.
segue. I like that. Try that
So I
out.
know Mama Tony says she's not going to read my highlight, but hopefully you'll try out Katina's highlight for her today.
Cause she looks like the what is that Christmas the Halloween cartoon.
Oh yeah, the
Um,
Grinch is not the Grinch. What's his name? I know the one you're talking about though. Yeah,
Skellington, Jack Skellington.
yeah.
I forget the name of the movie. Once upon a some kind of
One is
Christmas.
the one with Johnny Depp. I can't remember.
Johnny Depp was the voice.
Hmm.
Yes, I think it was. But yeah, she kind of gave that look. That's why I was wondering if that's the feel of the book, like when you were reading
I
it.
think that's indicative in who the species is that she belongs to.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you said it's HBCU, so they're
They're all black. Yeah.
They're black people. Okay,
Hmm.
all right.
So that's why I said that the face itself is not, but
Yeah, because I was like,
the hair
she
is.
gray.
The hair is not. It may be in part 2 and 3, book 2 and 3 that we find out more. It maybe it's some so that I don't know as far as yeah. Not bad, Mama Tony. Just it started out kind of slow. You know how it is when they build in they build in that world and they trying to introduce everything to you. Oh man. And then when last time Mama Tony was the co-host on here with me, I think my highlight was Outlander. But she said she ain't really not into time travel romance either. But I hope you try it out, Mama Tony. But if you don't try the book, you should try the Star series. I think you will love it.
Probably the Star series better.
Yeah, I think
I
you'll
think.
like. I think you'll like.
Mhm.
I think you'll like because it's like a epic love story. So I think you'll like.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the historical element in it too. So
Yeah.
not with this one with
That's
Outlander.
that cracks me up.
Oh man. But Myra, I know you like paranormal, so you definitely should check out the one that we were talking about
Dreia.
with the author with Dreia Wells,
Unshaken.
the HellNight Academy Unshaken.
Okay.
And then you would enjoy this one too, The Secret World of Maggie Gray as well. Because it has all the elements that that hits for me. It's got the found family, the strong friendships.
Mm-hmm.
We get the romance. We get the magical elements, the supernatural elements. We
Mm-hmm.
get some intense danger type. We get the mystery. Like I say, you get a murder mystery in it. So yeah, very, very good. But that's our show for today. And I want to thank you all for coming out and supporting everyone on Instagram as well. And if you get a chance, please go and pick up Unshaken by Dreia Wells. You will not be disappointed.
No.
And thank you also for coming on an hour earlier today. She lives in the UK, so we came on a little earlier than we normally do.
Yeah.
And let me see. The next show will be next Monday at the regular time at 7 p.m. Eastern with Lamar's Brown.
Yep.
All right. So again, thank you for coming out and continue to get lit with the Book Buzz Show. And we'll see you next time.
Next time.
Bye.